But when you hear the things that have happened to me and you put one and one together, you get two. Mine's is not adding up like that. Yeah, I've gone from driving my car up a cliff. I've gone from running headfirst into a bus. I've gone from jumping in front of a lorry. And when you look at me, like, I'm still here.
This episode contains open discussion about suicide and mental health. If you are struggling, please reach out for support. If you're in the UK, you can call Samaritans on 116 123 or visit barton.org.uk. If you're elsewhere in the world, please seek help from local crisis services and always remember, you're not alone. Greetings and salutations. I'm your host, Alicia Mullings, and this is the Sense Only podcast. This podcast is for people who are tired of the noise of the world, tired of the distractions of the world, and tired of the disconnection in the world. This is for people who know that we need to be the change that we want to see in the world. Today, I have a wonderful guest, an absolutely special guest, special to me. I have somebody who is one of the most kind, loving, truly special humans I've met in this lifetime. And I have the added blessing that this person is actually my uncle at the same time. I'm introducing to you Mr. Leroy Williams, and at this time this topic is a very sensitive topic that he's going to talk about and educate us on and share his story. I'm introducing to you Mr. Leroy Williams.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Uncle.
I'm really happy to be here. We've discussed this. I'm finally here now, and it's been a little bit of a nervous, shaky start, but thank you for inviting me, and I hope I can do you proud.
You definitely will, and thank you for coming. We know that this is a very sensitive subject. However, we know it's a topic that definitely needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
We know that statistics, we know that the rates of suicide very much going up, and they're going up for various reasons, and especially for men.
Yeah.
And this is why this is such an important topic for me, not only in the stance that for you as somebody who's very dear to my heart, but the fact that we need men. We need everyone, but we need men, you know? Yeah, and I feel like, especially me as a woman, and especially as where the world is right now in regards to the dynamic between men and women, it's unfortunately not very healthy. And I'm happy to step up and be one of the women, especially a black woman, who can say, I'm here to support you all and bring light to this topic. And just to add to that, I kind of feel like it's also my own personal responsibility, because I also see how the men in my life respond to me, you know, and how it's just naturally become a space that so many people talk to me, not only men in our family, but also I've got a lot of my male friends come and talk to me, even random men come and talk to me, and I feel like in a different space, us as women, we have a responsibility to step up and be there for you guys, because you don't talk. And it goes both ways, but as we know, I think very much us as females, we have a lot more tools in place in terms of how we converse and how we tap into each other. Women, as much as people cuss out women for talking too much, the talking too much is actually good, because we support each other and get it out of our system. And I see that when guys feel like they can come and talk to me, it's because they have a different type of communication with fellow men, with the brothers, you know, and I'm happy to continue to step up when, you know, when people just want to call me.
And you have done that.
And I do that across the board.
I mean, you know, I bear witness to that. When I was in Red Hill, you came to see me all the time. And the conditions that you saw me in must have been really hard for you, because the people that were surrounding me, I mean, like I'm in a place where people were trusted not to actually do something there because they've got staff, but it wasn't a very nice setting, but that never stopped you. You came, we had a wonderful time. So, I thank you for that because, I can truly say you helped me go through that. And, it was nice because you came round and we did a bit of cooking, we get to know each other more and Yeah.
You've been in some of the darkest spaces that a person can get to in their life, and thankfully you're still here. What do you feel pulled you back in those times?
Did have some good people around me, but what pulled me back was my belief really in the Lord. I didn't actually think that this was really happening, that he would be there for me. And I know people say, oh, that's kind of crazy. But when you hear the things that have happened to me and you put one and one together, you get two. Mine's is not adding up like that. Yeah, I've gone from driving my car up a cliff. I've gone from running headfirst into a bus. I've gone from jumping in front of a lorry. And when you look at me, I'm still here. When you just look at those three things that I've said, it doesn't make any sense. On the day of the incident with the bus, people that were actually there told me that you was gone. They were about to put you in a bag, and then all of a sudden you just got up. And I remember at that time I just thought I need to do something about this. So I sectioned myself. This isn't just, I make it sound like this is all my doing. I know that I was being watched out for, because when you're in that dark place, you've just got this cloud, and then when that cloud comes over you, rather than being stuck in that cloud, you do anything not to be here, anything. And I'm very thankful that I am here now, because now I can look at life and I can see that I'm actually here for a reason. I think that I've lived my life after that, on that cause.
100%.
My homeless runs that I do, I wish I could get back to it again. When I do anything on the weekend, I'm always watching out for women on the street. I do a Where's Angela scheme on the weekend to make sure women get home safe. But I think in having bad things happen to you, I mean, like the story of me being abused, and I'll leave it at that. I was abused as a child, and that led me to my role of being suicidal from the age of 7 up until I got to 50. It's a hard road, but after so many attempts, they're not like cry for help. They were, I really didn't want to be here. I'm being shown that I have a reason. And, there's a lot of people out there that thinking about this or planning things. This is a case where you're special, and it's almost like the enemy doesn't want you to be here. Get yourself help is not an easy thing to do, because when you're in that situation, there's only one road that you're thinking of. But I would say if you don't talk to anybody, you should learn to talk to somebody, and make it soon, because you have to realize that you're loved. You have to realize that you're loved, and at the time that you're going through whatever you're going through, you don't feel loved, and you don't think anyone will care. But there's always someone there.
Yeah. You said at 50 you stopped feeling how you was feeling. What happened at 50?
Okay, I'll have to start it from the day at work. I was at work. I wasn't having a very good day at work, and being diagnosed with bipolar, if you look at the levels of intensity that I was at the higher end of the bipolar scale. So a little thing will get me spiraling to then take me to that place of suicide. And I was having a particularly bad day, and on my way home, this is the first time I'd ever made plans to actually do what I was thinking of doing. I was thinking of going to Croydon and finding a building, and then the rest would be history. I had a phone call from my pastor. It was just a church that I started going to. I wasn't particularly religious at that time. I just go into church, and the pastor called me up. I don't even really know how he got my number, but he called me up and he said him and his wife was worried about me. And I said, well, no, I'm okay. You know, when people say, how are you? And things are bad, you just lie to them. But he wasn't having any of that. You could hear by my voice that things were good. And they met me in Red Hill. And instead of talking to me there, he took me home. And then when I was in the car, he turned around and said that him and his wife were really worried about me and can he pray for me? I was a bit taken by that. I was a little bit taken by that, and he reached his hand out. And then all I just remember is having this kind of out of body feeling, and I felt like I was sitting on the parcel shelf. You know, when something like that happens to you at that particular time, I was thinking, what is going on here? I could see myself. Even as I'm telling you, it sounds unbelievable. And I could see the pastor, and I saw that he was reaching out to pray for me, and I saw myself slap his hand. So in that, I felt myself back, and the pastor then told me, after I slapped his hand, I ran out the car. I don't remember any of this. I ran to, I think it must have been just around the corner, but he had said to his wife, don't go after him, the Lord will arrest him. You know, even when he was telling me this afterwards, I was thinking to myself, does any of this mean? But from that day, I've never been suicidal again.
Wow.
And that was, you think I was suicidal from 7 all the way up to 50. How I managed to live that long, how I managed to get through, you know, being shot at, suicide attempts. I mean, jumping in front of a lorry, you know, I jumped in front of the lorry, I was waiting for the bang, I looked up, the lorry's down the road. There were so many unexplainable things that happened to me. You almost feel like you're going mad, because you can't, how do you explain that to somebody? How do you explain, jumped in front of the lorry and the lorry whizzed past me? How do I explain I ran headfirst into a bus? The bus is smashed to bits and not even a broken leg. It
doesn't make sense in the physical.
The maths are not, it's not mathing.
The maths not mathing, but we know that. That being said, on a spiritual level, that you're truly blessed.
I believe so.
You need to be here. That is true evidence. It's not even just speech. As you just said, them things do not make any sense in the physical world. It could, if for anybody who would ever question if there's a God, however you want to label it, God, universe, it's very apparent. You're a walking example of a blessing from the Most High. Or you are the blessing of the Most High, and you've got work to do, and you are supposed to be here.
I think my life has changed so much from those times to now. So, you know, I got a place in 2014. I set out to just make sure I'm here for people. I don't care whether I know you or not. If I can help you in any way, I will. I think one of my thoughts that I get told off a lot is, like, you know, if I see someone that's homeless and I can help them out. There's a few people that I know that I've helped out that were in a place of suicidalness and homelessness. You know, I've taken people home with me, and people go, why are you doing that? Are you crazy? But see, the thing is, when you get given a chance like this, I think you can't be selfish and not want to help people.
Right.
And I think in knowing what's happened to me, and I can't make heads or tail of it, I know that is divine, regardless of whether people want to believe you or not, because if you go through something and you can't explain it, you got to start looking and seeing how many things have happened to me. It's yeah, you know. So I decided a long time that if I can help anybody, I will do that. I mean, I think the main thing to do is when you have someone that's that way inclined, the majority of the time you don't even know.
Right.
You don't even know that they're suicidal. I mean, I think when you look in the family, no one really knew.
That's a fair point. So that being said, as a person, as you are you, can you guide us in terms of things to look out for?
I think it's checking on your loved ones day to day, learning, getting yourself a baseline, knowing that person from a baseline. What are they like when they're happy? Yeah, if you've got someone and they're never happy, you got a problem there. You know, self-harm. You know, don't leave them to their devices. They will resist. They won't want your help. But it's a case of, I'm trying to find the right word. It's trying to teach them to be kind. I've had that said to me so many times, and when you're feeling the way that you do, it's very hard to be kind to yourself.
Oh, okay. I was waiting to see where you was going with that. Teaching them to be kind to themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard.
Okay.
You know, when you're broken, there is no manual to fix you. You're broken.
Do you feel broken?
I don't feel broken now.
And at that time you felt broken?
Really broken. You just don't fit in. You don't fit into the norm because you don't want to be here. There's nothing that, you know, if you think, you know, I've got 6 kids and I've had people say to me, oh, you're so selfish. And I think, no, but they're entitled to...
People have actually verbally said that to you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's a selfish thing to do, but that's okay. That's okay because everybody has an opinion. But you see, like from now, since all of this has happened to me, I don't have an opinion on when people do things, when people say things. It can have an effect on me, the cause and effect. I try to look at, you know, like, why did this person do this? What's going on in their life? And I think we're very busy in getting on with our own day-to-day life that, you know, but I haven't seen John in a long time. What's happened to John? Give John a call. Listen to how John says hello, hi. If he asks him, go, oh, hi John, how are you? Oh yeah, I'm all right. There's something wrong there.
Right.
There is something wrong there. You have to know the tones of your loved ones. I mean, like, you've got that down to a pat now with me. Do you know what I mean? So you could give good advice on that. And I think in knowing our loved ones, because no one teaches us how to do anything. No one teaches us how to be good husbands. No one teaches us how to be good wives. No one teaches. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
But if we flip the script now and start looking at that, because there's so many people that have gone that didn't need to go.
Right. So when you mentioned earlier that you've been diagnosed with bipolar, and that's something that in past has contributed to you feeling like you've wanted to take your own life, how do you manage that right now in your life?
You know, from that day when with the pastor, I suppose I didn't really explain what actually happened. And when I ran out the car, ran around the corner, and I just felt like I'd been like tripped up, and I landed on the floor. When I landed on the floor, it's very, very hard to explain. It seemed like the grass that I was lying on was burnt. This is the only way that I can describe it. It was like it was burnt. And when I got up, all I heard was, I've got you, and that was the pastor. And from then, I've never felt suicidal again. I've never had thoughts. I think about it, and when you've had something all your life, you've had thoughts all your life, and then all of a sudden they're not there. There's no explaining that. I was happy, I was sad, but I mean, I cried, and I was crying for ages, and I think from that day I've turned into a bit of a crybaby now. I mean, like, certain things will start me off. So I think I changed from then. I've changed from then, but the change happened, but then I've made a conscious effort to be a different man. So the things that I do now, I'm all for helping people. There's sometimes I help people and it's thrown back in your face, but I don't look and sort of like, oh, that person's bad. They just didn't need my help.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, we're very quick to put labels on things. I try not to put a label on anything anymore. If someone needs help, they need help. You know, as I was saying, I do like Where's Angela scheme, and in doing that, I get to talk to people. When I see someone that's marked themselves up, I tread very carefully.
Right.
I tread very carefully in trying to find out a little bit about them. How are they actually feeling today? Because the thing is, the one thing I don't want them to do is feel weird.
Right.
But I will always let people know how wonderful they actually are, because people are not used to hearing that anymore. It's not, I know like it within the family, we tell each other how much we love one another, and, but I just think on a day-to-day basis, how often do you get someone tell you that, you're wonderful?
Yeah.
You need to know that you're wonderful. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm explaining myself.
No, it's good. I was going to say, so you've explained to us how we can help people maybe struggling, but we also know that this is actually a wider societal concern. Do you have any ideas how you feel like society may be able to assist?
There is actually quite a lot of help out there, in the sense of they have safe places as well.
Okay.
There was times when I was feeling suicidal. They take you from where you are and put you in it's kind of like a safe house.
Okay.
It's kind of like a safe house.
Is that a house where, like, I guess there's more people in there, the staff, and they're monitoring you, and they know what to look out for?
Yeah, and they kind of know what to look out for. But the only downside to that is they make you promise you won't do something.
Okay.
But it did actually work for me.
Right.
So, but I only found out about safe houses because I was suicidal.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? It's not something that I knew.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be more of a conversation about what is out there.
Yes.
I think they're quite far and few between at the moment. I think there was more, but they seem to be cutting them down.
That feels a little bit like a short-term solution, though, because if it's a case of you pick somebody up from their life, you put them in the safe house, there's going to be a term that they're in the safe house, and then they need to kind of go back. It's not
a long-term thing.
Yeah.
But the guidance while you're in there is good. I mean, the people that work for them are really, really good. Right. I mean, like, as I say, everybody's going to be different. So what will work for me may not work for anybody else.
Right.
But so from the time that I've stopped being, the things that I would do is like grounding myself. I'm a man that don't really like to take my shoes and socks off, but I used to find myself taking my shoes and socks off, going out on the grass, grounding myself. It works. It doesn't work all the time,
right?
But it works. It's having lots of different things in your arsenal. You might have someone that loves playing games. They might be a gamer, but then, you're watching and all of a sudden they can't concentrate on that anymore. There is something you need to keep an eye on. You need to keep an eye on your loved ones. Is there something that they're not doing? What's their concentration like? Just be aware. When you think about how we are as people, there's people that can tell you everything about their football team. Right. Can't tell you nothing about their wife.
Right. Yeah.
Tell you everything about their car. Can't tell you nothing about their son. Do you see what I mean? So if we put that kind of thinking to people,
yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. If we start putting that kind of thinking to people, let's know about the people in our lives. I know when my kids were younger, when they were playing like games and stuff like that, I was there playing games with them, because the one thing I was worried about is who is online.
Right, and who's influencing you.
Yeah, because the thing is, you don't know what's going to trigger someone to be this way. Right, okay. And if we're not watching out for our loved ones, we never know. All you know is that person is not, they don't want to be here. Right. And that's going to be a very silent, they're not just going to broadcast it out. You'll probably have someone on a leave a note, and by luck you find out, oh my gosh, he's not. Yeah. But if you're planning to do something, you're not telling anybody.
Yeah. So it's for those in their life to, basically, we need to identify changes in patterns of behaviour. But at the same time, as you've just said, you actually need to know your person first. So it's being intentional.
It's just getting a baseline with whoever it is.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, we're very, very good at giving excuses. This is not putting blame on anybody, but we're very, if you can know more about a football team, or you can know more about cooking, or than you do people in your life.
Right.
It doesn't
make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
And this is why we only deal with sense right here.
Yeah, it's not making any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
And I have the most wonderful therapist. I hope she doesn't mind me saying that. Is Gemma Calendar. I've got short-term memory, so for me to remember her name, that's like. And I've learnt so much from this lady about like little things to watch out for, and it all comes back to learning to care for yourself.
Yes.
Because when you're feeling like that, you do not care about yourself, and that's kind of like the hardest step. So other people, if you've got people in your life and you know that there's something like that, sometimes it makes it even hard for you to love that person doing what they're doing. Because if you know there's someone, it's causing you distress.
Right.
You then don't know how to handle it, and then you get yourself wound up about it, or I don't know. This is just a scenario, but it's learning to teach them to be kind to themselves.
Right. Yeah, so one thing we've touched on earlier is, I guess, the taboo about suicide, and it's a hush subject. What do you feel we need to change about how we talk about suicide? I
think it needs to be discussed more. It needs to be discussed more. I think it needs to be something that people can actually see, because if you're selling a car, or you're selling a product, it gets flooded, then it sticks in people's minds.
Yeah.
Suicide, people really want to shy away from it. It causes pain, it causes hurt, and some people would rather not talk about it. Having conversations with people, or in this kind of structure, it really does help. I believe it does help, because you never know if someone's going to watch something like this and go, oh my gosh, I was feeling like that. Oh, he just said about the cloud. I thought I was the only person that felt like I was in the cloud. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And that is actually part of why I wanted to do this episode, and also why it's one of the first episodes I wanted to do, because I've seen the value. There's always value in conversations, but also the fact that we've had so many conversations about it as well. Yeah. I've learned so much, because I could say in past, I could have been one of those people who felt it was I could have felt that it was a selfish act, like the person you spoke to before. However, because I have this relationship with you as my uncle, I know you as a person, I know you as an individual, and I know you are probably the least selfish person I know in this lifetime. So where we could, if we're not informed, we could be like, oh, people who try to take their own life, they're all selfish. But it doesn't correlate with, for me, who you are as my uncle.
No, it's learning to know about me. But you did that so natural.
Yeah.
I think when you saw me in that situation, I watched your face when you came in the house, and I do remember that. And you just kind of like, okay, I got this.
Did I?
Yeah, you kind of like, I got this. That might not have been your thinking.
No, it wasn't.
but it seemed to, because it wasn't a nice place that you came into.
Right.
But you kind of, instead of going, what? You didn't, there wasn't any of that. You just embraced seeing me, and asked me, are you all right here? How are you getting on here? It's little, but it's huge.
Right.
It's huge, because I didn't really get a lot of visitors apart from my kids, but you came to visit me. You came to visit me there. Your dad came there, but it's like, it's not a nice setting to be in.
Right.
I don't know if you can remember it.
You was my focus.
So that's what I'm saying.
That's all. I just know that my uncle was going through stuff who I love dearly, and what can I do? The only little contribution that I can make, that I will hope create some form of shift in how you was feeling, was to show up. and that sort. So I just knew I
There you
needed
go.
to just get
That's
to
it.
you.
Just to show up.
Yeah.
You know, because there were just too many people. I mean, like, I've worked with a few people. You know, it's very sad that they've gone. I've got a friend called Amanda. She used to come and see me on a Saturday night, and I was getting people cabs. And a young boy came and was talking to her, and he explained his life, and his life was almost a picture of mine. And we worked with him for a while, and he was very, very angry. I can understand why he was very angry, because there are certain things that happen to you in life, and a young mind doesn't know how to break that down and process it and go, okay, I've got no control over that. Right, okay, let's kind of try and lift ourselves up. It's very hard to.
Yeah.
And he used to come and see me every Friday and Saturday night, and there was a shift. And he had a kid with a lady, and they broke up.
Okay.
And that was the shift that made us not see him again.
Right. Okay.
You know, and I was saying to myself, if I could have done more. I was trying to blame myself and saying I could have done more, could have done that. But the thing is, you know, the outcome is that may happen. But what I didn't know was how much it had been helping him, because when we went to his funeral, never met his mum before, never met his brothers and sisters before. It was only through Amanda how we got in contact with the family. But when we went to the funeral, they treated us like royalty. He said that he always talked about us. He says, oh, I go to see Leroy and Amanda, and, you know, he's been through what I've been through, but there was a shift, and I just wish that he came and talked.
Yeah.
Instead of going and he went and got drunk, and that's the main thing, is that we need to sort of like make sure we can be about. Sometimes we're not going to be there, but it's staying on top, trying to stay on top of it to make sure that person is all right.
Yeah.
But just knowing how much of a change from what his parents were saying that we had, you know, that was down to Amanda. So I learnt something because of the way that she brought him to me, and then what we learnt when we went to the funeral. We just kind of thought, well, you know, you can help people.
And what I'm gaining from this conversation is it's as simple as just talking. It's communication, and it's
it can be hard, but it's just being there.
Yeah.
Because I know how much it meant to me, you showing up. After you've gone, I used to cry, thinking I used to feel ashamed. I think this is probably one of the first times that we've seen each other and not started crying.
Yeah. We're okay.
Okay. Sorry, I'm probably taking it off track a bit.
No, it's fine. You said that when I used to leave after coming to visit you, you felt a bit sad.
Yeah, because I should just think it was so hard. I mean, like, seeing my kids, when they used to come up there, they used to see things and they would just joke about it, because they know joke about it with me. Don't, what was it? So, you know, like, one day I was there and the lady from the next room came out with a doll, it's a bear that she sleeps with, dribbled all over it. And she came out and said to me, you know, the bear really likes you, give him a kiss. I didn't get much saying it, she just...
Oh my goodness!
She just stuffed it in my face, and my kids knew, oh my gosh, there's going to be, someone's going to die. I see, this is what I'm saying. It's like, from the time I've been given this, my whole thinking has changed. Yeah. Now, I think when I would have been upset, I would have said something, or I turned around and I looked at my kids and they just had these smiles. They just left me, and I walked into my room and shut the door. And I just went, thank you, because I didn't react.
Yeah.
And then what I learned from that was you can change.
Yeah.
You know, you can change to anything that does actually happen to you. Just not reacting the way that I would have. I think in life we think we can't change.
Yeah.
But in all of this, it showed me that we can change, you know. And
it was a choice.
Yeah.
It's intentional. For anyone listening who may be feeling like they're on the edge, what words of wisdom have you got to leave them with?
For anyone that you feel like you don't fit in, you need to know that you're special. You really need to know that how special you are. And I'm not saying special, I'm saying you are special. There's reasons why you don't want to be here. You need to be here, but you need to be here. You need to be here. The enemy is trying to get rid of you. And for those who, this is not, please don't take it as, because I know there's people out there that don't believe. I'm not preaching to you. What I'm saying is you're special, and you need to know if you can make it through this, you're going to do wonderful things. You just don't feel like it at the moment. You know, in life we have more downs sometimes than we have ups. But once you kind of look to reaching the summit, you will see things in a totally different light. The journey will be horrible, but you can make it. You really, really can make it. Find people that you can trust and just put a bit of trust in them. I'm making it sound easy. It's not easy. You have to understand it's not easy. It's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done, but you can do it. I'm trusting that you can do it. And if there's anybody that I can help in any way, I mean, could talk to Alicia. I don't mind going and visit people as long as you're not too far away, like in another country and stuff like that. But we all need help. We all need help. And you know, even in someone just maybe giving someone a letter or just showing up for something, you know, you can make such a difference in someone's life. I know that there's someone out there that will hear this, and it's not for everybody because some people just won't hear it. But for those that will hear it, I wish you all the best of luck in your journey. And you have to be kind to yourself, and you are loved. I love you. I don't know you, but you know, I love you.
Thank you
Don't
so
you
much.
dare.
I'm not going to cry. I'm not.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you, Uncle.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
So much.
Aye. Deep episode, deep conversation.
I don't know. I feel like I messed it up.
You never. Thank you. Thank you for...
My word.
Thank you for sharing. And
I'm going to need counselling after that.
you've just literally counselled so many people. And
Do you feel that something can come out of that? I mean,
I do. I feel like stuff can come out of that, definitely. And yeah, but thank you. How do you feel?
it's really kind of dumb because it was humbling me. It was really, you know, like when I was talking, I was thinking, oh my gosh. And the thing is, I realised, you know, normally I'm very good with my words. It's
not an easy subject. It's like earlier. It's very personal. It's in your core, and and as you say, it's something that's came from trauma, you know. And you know that it's not only affected you, it's affected everybody in your world. It's a huge responsibility, you know. So I can imagine it's not an easy subject, and it's interesting me sitting here having this conversation with you as well, because it's as much as I had intentions for the other guy to come on here, the guy who's the man who's the father of the son who's tried to take his own life. That's fell through. However,
he couldn't.
He's just too busy and he can't make it. However, I see everything happens for a reason, because the thing where I guess I was short-sighted on that angle for this episode is technically I'm that person as well. I'm a family member, somebody to you, you know.
Yeah.
So that is actually the similar position that he's in. That's actually me. So that being said, I can see why those blocks happened, because possibly this was for me to express as me being a family member to you.
I do want to add though, it's nobody's fault if someone does take their life, because you will want to blame yourself.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, I think when people are experiencing someone that's taken their life, they're not kind to themselves, you know? And how we deal with death is a subject that, you know, we need to address as well, because no one teaches us.
No one.
You know, someone dies or they've committed suicide, and you go to a funeral. You are left to grieve however you're left to grieve. And that whole process of grieving, sometimes there's people that don't know how to grieve.
Yeah.
They get violent with that.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know of cases where someone has died, now this person wants to die.
Right.
Do you see what I mean?
It's like a domino effect.
Yeah, so we need to be very kind to ourselves. And I know that might sound a little bit amby-pamby, but I don't think we spend enough time. Yes, we go and buy things, we go and do, we might treat ourselves, but that's not being kind to yourself. That's not being, just checking in with yourself, just check in. How am I,
Yeah.
And if you learn to check in with yourself, then you learn to check in with other people.
And getting to know self. And that's part of the conversations that I want to have, because there's so much disconnection in the world, and it's like, as much as I can say we're disconnected to other people, so many people are disconnected from themselves, so many people are distracted within themselves, and we could say something as simple as knowing yourself, but how many people,
do you know
people
yourself?
Don't know themselves?
Yeah.
You can sometimes ask some people the most basic question, most simple question about themselves, and they will say, I don't know. The one person in this world you need to know is yourself. I don't know needs to not come into your dialogue with yourself, because if you don't know, that's fine. You then know the next actions you need to take is get to know yourself. So when somebody asks you something, you can actually answer, and it's in truth.
It's just setting aside that time. There's one thing I used to do that was very, very weird. Around about Christmas time, I always had either a shower or a bath. And I would sit, if it was a bath, with my favourite tipple at the time. I don't drink anymore. And I would look back on my life, and I'd look back at things that I've done wrong, things that I've done right, and look and say, how could I, like when I've done something wrong, what could I have done to prevent that? Once, that was a really good thing, that once I started thinking about that, because then it cuts down, it was starting to cut down the stupidness, because we all do stupid things. Regardless, it doesn't matter who you are, you do stupid. At some point in your life, you do stupid things, but it's whether you can look back and reflect back on it and
learn from it.
And go, do you know what? That was stupid.
Right.
And also in conversations, we get so quick to judge, or we get so quick to misunderstand what was going on, because I presented you with a jigsaw puzzle. But then when you take that and you go, there's a piece missing, but I can't see the piece that's missing. I gave you a full.
Yeah.
There's always a jigsaw puzzle missing in a conversation. There's always a jigsaw puzzle missing in life. But when you stop and look at that, and that's what's kind of happening with people that are suicidal, there is a piece that's missing.
Okay.
There's a piece that's missing, and when you're going through it, you can't find it, Most of the time, you don't even care that there's a piece that's missing. But the fact that you can have someone in your life that will take the time, do you know what, I need to something's not right. I need to kind of get to the bottom of this, make a big difference. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming, Uncle.
You're more than welcome.
And I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your insight. I appreciate your reflection and the turnaround. And most of all, I appreciate that it didn't work and that you're still here with us.
No, I'm glad.
You're such a blessing to me in particular, but you're also such a blessing to every member of this family. You're such a blessing to anyone who crosses your path and is in your world. I've seen how people respond to you, who just people in the world, and also when we talk, I hear how people respond to you, and you're such a gem in this world. You're such a blessing to this lifetime, and I give thanks that we're in the same family. I give thanks that we have all come through at the same time, and that I've actually got to meet you, that you're not an ancestor and you're not a descendant. We're here at the same time. And I know from other people in your world, from your friends and other people I've spoke to, especially when we was at your birthday party, I've got feedback from people in your world, and everybody has nothing.
There was a lot of amazing people there.
Amazing people to say amazing things about you, because you are the amazing person who is the common denominator for all of us. I give thanks for
I'll
your
try
life.
to.
You don't try to be you are, and you do it well. And I give thanks for your life, and you're a blessing. This was a powerful episode. This was an amazing episode, and I give thanks for my uncle. I give thanks for the story, and I pour blessings to anyone who may be affected by this sensitive topic. I'm going to put up information about where you can get help if this is how you may be feeling, and also for families and friends of people who may be affected by this specific topic. Yeah, we pour love to anybody who's feeling challenged right now and questioning how they feel about their life and how they fit into this world. And as my uncle says, we love you and we're all connected, we're all one. Yeah, I'll do my best to contribute and to help. I thank you for tuning in and for listening. This is the Sense Only podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Mullings. Be blessed. As we close this episode, please remember that if you are struggling, support is out there and you don't have to face it alone. In the UK, you can call Samaritans anytime on 116 123. You can also find culturally relevant support at barton.org.uk. For more resources, visit Suicide Prevention UK at spuk.org.uk or Men's Minds Matter at mensmindsmatter.org. And wherever you are in the world, please reach out to your local crisis services. You are not alone. Your story matters, and the world is a much, much, much brighter place with you in it. Be blessed.